Hi there, I'm Joy and welcome to my kitchen. Today we'll be going through your shopping list and how to set up your kitchen, your pantry and your fridge ready for the start of your program. So first of all, what I did today is I cleaned out my crispers and I found a bunch of stuff which was a little bit borderline. So anything that was too crusty, tossed it. Anything that was suitable for juicing and was still looking okay, I'm going to chop up and bag up and store in my freezer. Things that are not so suitable for juicing, I'm going to again toss them into a soup later on today, which can then be frozen for future use. Bit borderline, chop that up. This is some English spinach. And your leafy greens store really well in the freezer. And a bunch of kale, that was also a little bit borderline. A bit of parsley, most of that's okay. It's not going to last much longer in the fridge, so I might make a bag full of herbs. I seem to have a whole hell of a lot of leftover mint as well. So that's what I'm going to do with stuff that's in my crisper. And I've also just taken stock of what I do have, what is still okay, so I don't double up when I go shopping. So fresh fruit and veg. I always have as staples on hand apples, lots of green apples, lemons, limes, avocado. Pretty much never without those, either fresh or frozen in my freezer as a backup. But this morning I did go shopping and this is what I've stocked up on today. Make it really easy, I went shopping at Woolies. Often do go shopping at the organic grocers. One of the main reasons is so much packaging. And as we're looking after ourselves, we also learn how to look after the planet. So being aware of where your food comes from, how it's packaged, how it's grown, whether it's organic or not, these things become a little bit more important. So what I've restocked on pretty much today is all my fresh greens, some bananas. Bananas freeze really well. A few more apples, a leek, and Woolies does have a fairly stock standard amount of organic greens. And then generally I'll just buy a little bit of whatever takes my fancy. So today there was tomatoes and kiwi fruit and some sprouts, chilli, and an eggplant. But mainly with the greens, the herbs, I tend to have a fair bit of these in stock for my juices and for making salads really, really yummy. And I need to shop for just that amount of food, probably every 4 days. On your shopping list, you'll find a section for dried fruits. When I went shopping this morning, I didn't actually buy any of these items because I already had them in my fridge and in my pantry. So what I've got here is pretty much all you'll need to make your salads really yummy and interesting, or for some sweet treats. And some of these things are used in dressings. What I've got is medjool dates, cranberries, awesome in a kale salad, goji berries, which are also a superfood, really delicious in smoothies, shredded organic coconut, yummy in salads, sun-dried tomatoes. I actually found these in Adelaide, but if you look carefully, you can find them in health food stores and at Greenies and online. They're special because they have been dried at not too high a temperature and they have no chemicals. Sun-dried tomatoes often can have sulfates in them, and these ones are not in oil. Sun-dried tomatoes are incredibly high in protein and they form the basis of some really yummy sauces and dressings, and as an addition to some of our delicious salads that we have. Some Australian bush tucker, bush tomatoes, some prunes, organic, some white mulberries, some sultanas and some raisins, and more shredded coconut. All of these items tend to be either quite dense in sugars and they're usually just accessorizing the main fare. In my pantry, I always have a big supply of almonds. I make almond milk, and I often soak them, and then their enzyme inhibitors are released and they're much more easily digested. So today I have Brazil nuts, almonds, raw cashews, pine nuts and pistachios. When you're buying your nuts, just make sure that you buy organic and raw. That way the oils are going to be of the most benefit. In all plants and animals, toxins are stored in fat. Nuts are particularly high in oil, so really important to get organic, and also really important that they're not cooked or roasted, as the oils can become not that beneficial to us after they've been heated. And some delicious seeds, which are also staples, and I found these in my fridge and in my pantry today. And we have pepitas, chia seeds, sunflower seeds, hemp seeds and sesame seeds. Some of the main grains that you'll be eating include oats and some rice. So again, today I didn't do a whole bunch of shopping for these things. I had a lot in my pantry. I usually have about a supply that will last about 6 months because they're dry. You can just keep them in an airtight container. One thing I did buy today, however, was I needed some more organic rolled oats. So we don't buy the quick cook variety. We always buy the least processed kind. What I had already in my pantry today was some brown rice, some black forbidden rice, some buckwheat, some black quinoa, some white quinoa flakes, and some oat groats, which I like oats before they get flattened and rolled out. Also in my pantry, I have in airtight containers, just storing, they store for forever. I found some chickpeas, some red lentils, some adzuki beans and some mung beans. And sometimes I cook these, but most of the time I soak them and sprout them. And what I've got going at the moment is I've got some chickpeas here, they're soaking. And what we'll do is we'll rinse them tomorrow and they will begin to sprout. I'll make them into a really yummy chickpea hummus. And what I've already got in my fridge to add to salads or smoothies or soups or whatever is some sprouted mung beans. So that's these little babies. They've been soaked overnight and then they've been left to sprout in the sprouting jar for 2 days. They are delicious. Here's a little collection of sea vegetables that I had in my pantry. So unlike land vegetables, sea vegetables have incredibly high nutrient content and mineral content because the soil of land vegetables these days is often depleted in those essential minerals. And what we've got here, seaweed basically, sea vegetable seaweed. These are nori sheets, like what you find at sushi, and I love making vegetable wraps in these. We've got some arame, which is rehydrated and added to salads. It's delicious. And we've got some nori flakes and some dulse flakes, which again, like salad sprinkles. Awesome way to get your protein in. When setting up your pantry for the program, there are some oils which you'll be required to purchase. And the 3 main ones, if you don't already have them, are organic coconut oil, flaxseed oil, and probably wouldn't be a bad idea, you probably already got it hanging around in your house, is some olive oil. It's more so for flavour and for exciting dressings, etc. We've got walnut oil, hemp oil, avocado oil, and for flavour, some sesame oil. These are some of the flavourings and the condiments that I also have all been found in my pantry and in my fridge today. They're staples and I just tend to add to them over time as I run out. Things that I use all the time to whip up really yummy dressings and to add to raw food recipes. So we've got organic, of course, hulled tahini, which is sesame seed paste, and this was without the, it's been more refined. This is unhulled tahini, really awesome for making dressings and hummuses. Also add this to dressings as a flavouring all the time, which is miso paste in limited amounts, olives, and these ones are actually proper raw olives. That means they haven't been processed in chemicals or at high temperatures. Some nutritional yeast, really good for vegan people who may be deficient in B12. This actually has B12 in it. Two really awesome alternatives to soy sauce. We have Bragg's all-purpose seasoning and tamari, which is a salt-reduced vegan-based soy. The other vinegars include rice vinegar. You could use brown vinegar. I've got red wine vinegar, balsamic vinegar, mirin, which is like a sweet vinegar, and of course the favourite, apple cider vinegar. So only buy small quantities of dried spices, and they're just a backup if you don't have fresh spices. And the other main seasonings that we use are sea salt or rock salt, again really high in minerals and not bad for you, and pepper. This is my personal collection of superfoods, which I love to add to smoothies and sometimes some salad dressings. My choice of protein powder, if I am consuming it, is Ultimate Raw Protein. You'll get this in your supplement pack if you're opting for vegan. And bee pollen, raw cacao powder, which is full of bliss nutrients, and if you're ever having those chocolate cravings, can really hit the spot. Maca is a natural adaptogen, hormonal adaptogen. Carob powder, which is one of the amazing recipes of the treats in Ripped on Raw recipe book, and just a collection of other things, and you'll get a collection as you go along. Camu powder, which is high in vitamin C, acai berries, again antioxidants, vitamin C. This is moringa, which is like a high in, almost like spirulina, high in protein and is akin to what's in our blood, so iron and oxygenating. And that also is a variation of that, which is another sea vegetable superfood, green, alkalizing, hydrating, oxygenating. Sweeteners. Pretty much use one sweetener, which is stevia, which is based on a plant. It's plant extract concentrate. And I've got it here in a couple of forms. Liquid form, I got this at Woolies. An organic liquid form, got that at Greenies. And this one too is GM free, and it's quite like sugar, it's in granules. And my husband likes that one. The other ones that are not technically really sweeteners, but make anything sweet a little bit more flavoursome, is pure organic vanilla extract, the one that you can get at Woolies. Cinnamon, which is a spice. Lucuma powder, which is like a superfood. And we won't be using much of this, but raw organic honey, only for a treat. Here I've got a fresh coconut. We use the coconut juice in some smoothies. We don't usually use the coconut meat in our program simply because it's high in fat. You'll find it in some raw treats and things like that. But feel free to grab the fresh coconut. They last in the fridge for a couple of weeks. If not, just grab some packaged coconut water. So what equipment will you use? Really basic to have would be a blender. I've got a Ladyship essence extractor here, which serves as my blender and my juicer in one, and it makes my life very easy. I thoroughly recommend you grab one. This is my food processor, and it's from the Ark, but it still does the job. You don't need any fancy equipment. And this is on loan, and it's pretty fancy. It is a Thermomix. It makes life easy as well, but it's not essential. And the other things that you need as basics would be a sharp knife and a cutting board, and a peeler. You can advance to, say, a mandolin or a spiralizer, but a peeler any day of the week will help you make things like zucchini pasta and carrot ribbons, which are awesome and feature in our raw salads. Some jars, preferable to store your smoothies and your juices in because they're airtight and they don't have any nasties of plastic. And nut milks and things like that in your glass bottles. And one other piece of equipment which I find really invaluable is my sprouting jar. It cost me about 15 bucks from Greenies. I use it every day. And this is our amazing Ripped on Raw recipe book. You'll find some cooked and some raw foods in here, which make it really easy for you to transition and try out some non-meat-based proteins and concepts. And I've got an awesome collection of raw recipe books that you're more than welcome to borrow. Heaps of stuff online these days as well, as you find that you're looking for some really nutritious recipes that will fit in with your program, that you'll just be open to finding them, sharing them on Facebook, figuring out which ones are good